I don't think I do it.
But Arsenal started like a house on fire. Signing number 2 for this new era. It's Judgment Day, people. Yeah! What did your boy tell you? It was never in doubt. Never in doubt. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah. Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it is your instant reaction to the press conference that has just finished. Well, it's probably not finished. It's probably still ongoing now, but it's under that embargo section where they have to keep it from us for whatever reason. I think for like TV providers and all that sort of stuff. Before we get into the video, please do smash a like on it, subscribe to the channel, get your comments, and then of course hit that notification bell. Before we actually took on everything Jesse had to say in today's press conference, obviously we touched on this briefly yesterday on the final word about the potential of a new investor, if you like, in Leeds United. Some of you might have missed this. Obviously, it was news yesterday. The news broke that Leeds United, or San Francisco 49ers, if you like, may have competition from a Middle Eastern buyer, despite an agreement already being in place with the NFL franchise. Now, listen, I have my main strand of thought is this story's been released out there in the ether to either maybe push 49ers on or maybe put the shits up a little bit. Of course, maybe it's putting 2 and 2 together and getting, 10, because could it be that because Radrazani's been out in Qatar, obviously he's friends with QSI, or the guy, what's his name now? Is it Al Khalifa? I can't remember his name, but there's been talk of him wanting to also buy another club. So maybe it's putting 2 and 2 together and getting 4. But yeah, there's no real meat on the bones on the actual story. I'm disappointed that no one actually asked Jesse during the press conference. Not that he would have given us anything, but it'd have just been nice to maybe throw that out there for a little bit of a time bomb, a ticking time bomb, if you like. But look, we know that 49ers have got an agreement in place for January 2024. We expect that to be exercised this summer. At the end of this window, I think Radrazani will leave and then 49ers will take over. I can't see how a new investor could come in anyway, because they'd also have to buy out the San Francisco 49ers, and surely, they will go... well, we don't want to sell. We've already got an agreement in place. So I just think it'd be far too difficult for anyone else to sort of enter the table now. I agree with your unholy confessions that Jesse wouldn't have had much clue of what was going on there, but still to put that out there in the ether, because it has happened before. Klopp's been asked about the potential takeover at Liverpool. Eric Ten Hag asked about what's going on with the Glazers. The managers are the people that front up to the media, so naturally they're going to get questions, as did Thomas Tuchel when everything was going down at Chelsea. So yes, they might not know a lot, and I understand that, but it's still nice to get that question out there. So we'll wait to see if there's any developments on that. Like I say, I'm not too sure. Now, don't forget to smash a like on the video if you can. That'd be great if you could do that. We're here to talk about, obviously, Jesse's press conference and the main talking points from that. So let's get into it. So he started basically saying, in effect, we've got a load of injuries. That's what I took from it. That we have a lot of niggles at the minute at the football club. He says we want to put out a good team, and then I asked myself the question, but can we? Can we put out a good team? Because it sounds like on the back of that West Ham game, coupled with the already injuries we've got, that we might struggle to do that. We know that Cardiff are a bit of a bogey team for us. Obviously, they beat us in 2002 in the FA Cup, and we've been rubbish against them since then. Played them a lot, obviously, in the championship, so naturally there's a lot of fixtures there, but we don't have a great record against them. I would like us, me personally, to go strong in the cup. I want a cup run. I think we'll be all right in the league. Naturally, if we lose, we can say, we can focus on the league, but I want a cup run. I want us to go deep into a competition. Crystal Palace did it. Other teams have done it. Wigan have won it and they got relegated. You know what I mean? I think, for me, I want us to go deep into the competition. And Jesse said as much. He said, look, there is great value in it and we want to challenge. He said he'd had a conversation with Angus, and Angus had said to him, we want a cup run, in effect, and he went, message received. I also took that a little bit like, what? Why do you need a message from the guy in the board to tell you to want to win games? I don't know. You know me, I'm always going to take the slightly pessimistic side when it comes to Jesse. Although yesterday's final word, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, I did get some clarity, as Jesse likes to say, on some certain tactical points that Ger and Max brought to the table, and that's why I like to do them videos, and that foursome there, I think, will stay now for the foreseeable future. I really enjoyed it. I've had a lot of good feedback from it as well, so that's great. I will be on Jer's channel tonight as well with Ollie, so if you're stuck for something to do, you know, that'll be over there. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination we can win the FA Cup, as Derek has put, but let's have a decent go at it. Let's have a run at it. You know, I think Jesse's tactics and the way we play against bigger sides lends itself to us having a decent cup run. I think we were okay against Wolves. And they had a pretty strong side. And, you know, Robler's positioning for the goal was poor. And people say it was a great finish, but I'm not too sure. But he said, look, we want to put out a good team. Can we? I'm not too sure. He spoke about Bamford. Bamford's finally back in training. He's back in training. You know, sound the horn. Sound the horn. Bamford's back in training, man. You know what I mean?
Patrick Bamford.
Now I do.
He's on fire, mate.
He is on fire, mate, or was. Maybe, you know, at some point he will break down again. I'm not too sure, but he's back in training. Yeah. So that's a positive. He won't be ready for Cardiff, though. Maybe he'll be ready for Villa. There's a little part of me thinks maybe wait until after January, Patrick, so we can get a striker in. Because if Bamford comes back, best believe Radrazani won't buy as a striker. Although I listened to the Phil Hay podcast this morning, and he seems to think, or you could read between the lines, that, you know, the club are confident that they will get someone. And Angus's programme notes lend to the idea that it's our first signing through the door, meaning Max Vober, and therefore will there be more? Potentially. Nathan says Patrick will be injured by the end of the day. Probably, mate, probably. Forshaw's out. Like, this is why we need another centre midfielder. They have to. Everyone outside of the football club says we have to. I say it. You say it. Phil was saying it. Others are saying it. Everybody's saying it. But that doesn't mean that the club will see that. Because who can forget, in the summer, we were told we've got international strikers and we don't need a left back. And then in January, they're saying we need a striker and a left back. Was like, whoa, I could have told you that. Scott Lightning could have told you that. Kyle Innes could have told you that. Andy LUFC till I die could have told you that. But, you know, we don't have a Scooby-Doo, do we? You know what I mean? But yeah, Forshaw out. He's only played like 2 games. Started one, half-time one, and broken down already. Disappointing. Dallas has had to have another operation. Risk of infection, so they've had to do another operation on him, which just adds more time, doesn't it? You think you're getting closer, you have to go for another operation. After an operation, you've got probably a period of time where you've got to, you know, lay up and all this sort of stuff. Of course, they've got the best, you know, kind of medical treatment you could think of, but ultimately that just adds more time. So, you know, Stuart Dallas is further away than any of us would have liked, really, if we're being totally honest. Louis Sinistera was on an individual program. Hopefully, we'll be back training with the full group next week. That's a positive, but again, he still seems to be a way off. You know, the fact that he's out there sprinting, he'll be doing his turning, you know, all that sort of stuff they do first of all, running at speed, then turning and, you know, adjusting the pace you're running at, and etc., etc. Listen, I'm not a coach, but you know what I'm getting at. So he's been doing that in individual training. Hopefully next week he'll be back with the group, and then that'll involve, you know, impact tackles and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully he comes through, because I do think Leeds United are going to be all right this season. They are going to be peaks and troughs, a lot more troughs than they will be peaks, in my opinion. I'm much more positive after the West Ham game than I thought I would be, but I was infused by the performance in certain parts of it. You know, there's some tough games coming up. So like I say, and I will continue to say, Jesse's always one result away from me saying, get that back out. I can only be honest with you, but I'm a lot more positive. And I do think if Louis comes back and is back to full fitness and we add him, he will improve as no end, because he, like Nonto, can make a moment of magic, as can Somerville, you know, and we've seen just in the small games that he has played this season, he's had such a great impact. I think he's, you know, I'm going to check. My FB ref is he's working today, thankfully, which is a positive. But in just a 6 starts he's had for Leeds, he's already got 2 goals. You know what I mean? That's a, you know, that's a decent return. It's a decent return, and his numbers in terms of passes and completion and etc. He's in the greens. He's in the greens on FB ref, which is a positive. You know, just so you can get a look at that, I'll share it with you because you're just hearing mine, and I like to. You know, like to share, but you can see there, you know, he's greens across the board, and you know, like I say, he's got a decent record, and statistically close to players like, you know, Almiron and Buendia, Julian Brandt, you know, a lot of, you know, decent names in that crop there. So he is, you know, a real star within our side. Naturally, we've not seen enough from him, but if he can get back fit, I believe Leeds will get better and could arguably win more games with Cini in the side. He's that pivotal to what Leeds United can do. I believe that. So he's going to be back in full training next week. But we've heard this a lot from Jesse. You know, Bamford, Louis, they were all supposed to be back a few weeks ago, and they're still not, right? But hopefully, you know, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to injuries. Yeah. I agree with Andy K here as well. You know, it is a very impressive attack. Add a striker to it who's able to bring others into play. Yes, that means maybe less minutes or shared minutes with Rodrigo. Maybe Rodrigo plays alongside, and Rodrigo's finding the back of the net, and I'm slowly warming to him as well. You know, I think maybe my opinion needs to change of Rodrigo in the sense that I'm just seeing it through the Bielsa, the Bielsa telescope, if you like, and what he did in that era, but he was clearly not suited to that. Under Jesse, okay, sometimes in the build-up phase, I don't think he's the best, but he's putting the ball in the back of the net. And that's what it's about, right? That's what it's about. And maybe if he could play up alongside a Bamford in it, you know, we'd get more goals from him or someone similar to that profile. I do think, you know, there's a lot of unfair criticism of Jack, in my opinion. Yes, he can be inconsistent, but I do rate Jack. And, you know, we've seen when he came on against Newcastle that he did have an impact. Like I say, that's specifically about the FA Cup, obviously being from America. What kind of pull does it have? It has a lot less than when I was a youngster, for example. You know, I remember them games. Oh, rest in peace, Gianluca Vialli, by the way, as well. Just on Gianluca Vialli, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but growing up, he was one of the, you know, I guess, more exotic of players during that time, and Chelsea had a good team during that time, didn't they? Di Matteo, Petrescu, etc. And you know, I mean, this doesn't have any bearing, but my mum was really, really fond of Vialli. So yeah, I always remember Gianluca Vialli, and like I say, he always speaks well whenever you see him on commentaries and whatnot. So yeah, and like Jamie says, 58, it's no age at all, is it? So rest in peace, Gianluca Vialli, because he was a big part of the Premier League, you know, during my younger years for sure. But don't want to talk on Chelsea too much, but Gianluca Vialli, rest in peace. I will say that. So on the FA Cup, he was asked specifically about the FA Cup and obviously being in America and what that meant. And he actually said, look, you know, the FA Cup was quite a big deal in America because people would get up early, go to the pubs, etc., to watch the FA Cup, regardless of team. We know in America, and there might be Americans watching this, probably will be, but it's more about their players. I know there wasn't any Americans around at that time, but I guess it's more about the gravitas of the two sides that were playing in the final at that time, you know, rather than we're getting up because Leeds are playing, we're getting up because such and such a play. It just has a big pull, does the FA Cup. We know Leeds United haven't progressed past the third round since forever. It's been far too long. I want to save all this for my preview, which I'll do tomorrow. But Leeds United's record in the FA Cup is so bad, man. It's actually disheartening when you look at the numbers behind it of how poor we have been. So that needs to be changed. Obviously, it wasn't too only a couple of days ago, 3 to be precise, that we were reminded, obviously, of Beckford's goal at the Stretford end. Great memories, of course, but, you know, our record's really, really piss poor in the FA Cup, and that needs to change. And like I said about Angus maybe getting in his ear a little bit and saying, look, we won't mind a cup run. He said, message received. And hopefully, you know, Leeds United old school, just forget the cup. You know, rest players, no, not for me, not this time. I want to see us have a fucking go, bro. You know, you can still go well in the cups and still do well in the league. And Jesse said about it can help you gain momentum, and I agree with that as well. I agree with that. Look, over the course of the season, I think we'll be all right. I'm sick of us going out, you know. Genuinely, like Paul says, you know, Histon, Rochdale, Sutton, Newport, Crawley, it's embarrassing. And I want us to go well in the cups. And like Liam says, you know, I do want to see it, having some sort of cup run. Agree, man. I'm sick of us just going out with a whimper, and putting in pathetic performances. And you know, that's one thing I will say. You know, I'm very, very positive again about, for me, what was my best time as a Leeds fan under Marcelo Bielsa, but he never really went well in the cups and mixed it up far too much. You know, Scott Lightning mentions Gelhardt, JB, Voba all should get 90 minutes. Pascal maybe in at centre-back, and that is where we're going to move to next, because he was asked about Voba. He said Voba has had some very good sessions and he will be in the mix. Doesn't know if he'll be up to full fitness, but I think he'll throw him in there anyway. I think Voba should start, and I'm really excited to see him. Obviously, the game's on ITV on Sunday. I will be doing a watch along for the game. ITV's coverage in terms of commentary will be piss poor. So if you are going to watch it because it's on terrestrial TV, I understand that, but at least stick me on your phone or your laptop and mute their commentary, because it'll be terrible. But it will be a tough game. I do believe that. So yeah. Jack says, if Jesse had said he's rotating, fans would have wanted a cup run. Now he said we're going for it, they're saying it's risking injuries. There probably is something in that as well, bro. But yeah, I think for me personally, regardless of who's in charge, I want a cup run. Let's get to a quarters, to a semi. It's doable. Leeds United have shown against better opposition we are better. And we're going to touch on that in a sec, because Jesse mentioned it in his presser. You know, he was asked about performances, etc. And he mentioned how we can perform against better sides, etc. Anyway, just on Voba, he was then asked by, I think it was Popey, who said, you know, how do you feel now with it being more of your team with the extra additions, if you like? And he said, look, he's going to say this because Jesse's very good at talking, but he said, I've always felt it's been my team. But he's grateful for the backing he's getting from the board. And we are seeing now, obviously, with Click leaving, one of the last bastions of that squad, we know that Cooper and Ayling are coming towards the end of their deals. Forshaw as well, I think, done in the summer. We're going to have a look at that now, actually, just fact check myself. Just bear with us 1 second. We'll have a look. But you can see we're really starting to see now the churn and a new squad coming out, if you like. If we look at the expiration date, if we look who's ending this year, you can see there. I'll zoom in for you. Luke Ayling and Adam Forshaw end in the summer. They've got a year left on their deals, June of this year. So that is the last real bastions. I think other than that, who have you got the following year? I think you might have Cooper. You might have, look, I mean, it's all really, you know, the likes of Cooper, Dallas, Click. We know Click's already had his ripped up, but you will see by next season, 23-24, you would imagine that a lot of them won't be here anymore. So we are definitely seeing that churn over now, and Voba coming in and Click leaving. It is starting to look more and more like Jesse's squad. And there is a lot of supporters of Jesse that will say, you know, we'll give him time. And, you know, genuinely, I can't lie to you. My conversation yesterday on the final word has made me see things with, I'm going to use a Jesse word here, a little more clarity. That, again, you know, I'm an emotional guy. If we get beaten terrible against Cardiff, that'll change, you know, because I do speak with my emotion. Sometimes it takes me to have conversations with others to see things a little bit more clearer, or maybe see a little bit better. And I do feel a lot more positive than I did just a week ago and over that Christmas period, I was on my arse when it came to Leeds. I can't lie to you. I was really, really down and depressed about the whole situation, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better. So yeah, we are seeing that churn of squad, and it won't be long before it is Jesse's squad, you know, like in terms of the players that are in the door and those that will be leaving, etc. He was asked specifically about Joffy, because we know Joffy has made little fits and starts. You would imagine that I think me as a fan personally, I expected to see more from Joffy. Whether or not that's him struggling to adapt to Jesse's confidence in him, Rodrigo's form obviously plays a part. And Jesse, to be fair to him, said, look, I wasn't happy that I didn't bring him on earlier against West Ham. I wanted to bring him on earlier, but I just didn't do it, and I apologised to him after. And to be fair to Jesse, and he mentioned about Rodrigo's form, is it fair on Jesse to say we should be seeing more of him when Rodrigo is finding the back of the net? And if the ball drops to him in the right areas, can he finish them? Well, we know Rodrigo can. You know, we know Rodrigo can. And he's done that finish a couple of times this season where he gets it out of his feet away from the centre-back and bang, finds one of the corners. You know, so I can understand it. But we do need to see more from from Joffy. And Jack's mentioned his lineup. I think we need to see Gelhardt start against Cardiff, because it'll be a real barometer of where Leeds United are as a squad. Because a lot of people, after the Llorente deal and all this sort of stuff, say, we're preparing for the Championship. Well, Cardiff are going terrible at the minute, right? They've got injuries themselves. We'll touch more on this in the preview. They've got injuries themselves and they're down at the bottom of the Championship. So we should see a distinct quality gap. You know, of course, there are upsets, and Leeds United are always good for an upset. Like I say, our record in the FA Cup's terrible. We're going down there. They're doing poor. You know, it's got upset written all over it. But I do want a cup run, right? But it'll give us a barometer, because Joffy has played in the Championship for Wigan, obviously has got minutes in the Premier League, should show his quality against a team that are in the lower reaches of the Championship. So even if we do make changes here, we still should have enough. Presume Creswell won't be playing for Cardiff. Yeah, he won't be playing because he plays for Millwall, D. D, come on, man. You're normally good at this, bro. What are you saying? He's at Millwall. He was asked if it's an ideal fixture for Leeds United because of their form that I just touched on briefly there. And he said, look, it's not going to be easy. You know, we'll prepare for an important match, though. He gave us all these Americanisms, you know, his nice words, etc. He was then asked about him, you know, speaking about players playing without fear. You know, how do they do that, for example? Speaking to Joe yesterday, you know, about the players taking it upon themselves to make passes in dangerous areas. You know, maybe it's a case of Adams and Rocker getting on the ball. Joe mentioned how Aronson had to drop deep in order to get the ball, and his pass back and Skamaka's goal was down to Harrison. It was a poor pass. He said Rocker moved, etc. I'm not too sure on that, but maybe it is that case of players coming and getting the ball from that back line. You know, previously we had Calvin, who was always there, was always an option. Jesse doesn't play that way. I see Jesse, you know, people saying, would you have Calvin back, Calvin? But he doesn't suit what we're trying to do now. We've seen towards the back end of last season, he really, really struggled. You know, he's more of a natural number 6, more like a Rodri, etc., that'll pick it up in areas. And we missed it for England, for example. We did miss it. We did miss it for England, in being able to get it off the back foot and progress it. And maybe we need to see more of that from Rocker and Adams, so that Brendan isn't having to drop so deep. Brendan needs to be dropped. Yeah, maybe giving him a little rest against Cardiff wouldn't be a bad thing. Wouldn't be a bad thing. But I think that's what Jesse's meaning when he's talking about playing without fear. But again, he did give us loads of his Americanisms there. You know, more courage and more tactical clarity and more aggression and all that sort of stuff. You know. But he did say that, you know, we do play with more courage against the teams that are better than us. We do it against the top sides. And we've said that, you know, as a fan watching Leeds United. And again, I'm not a tactician or anything like that. I watch with my whole emotion and I say what I see, and I don't always get it right. You know that, right? You don't come here for, your tactical nuances, all right? Belief, yeah, that's a good one as well. But he did, as a fan watching it, we can see that we do better against better sides. Now, I think a lot of that's due to the tactics, because the team that we're going up against feels more comfortable playing it out from the back because they have better quality player than us and won't adopt long ball tactics, which means our counter press can work more effectively, in my opinion, right? But there is something in that. And he also mentioned about us going behind and then playing better with more freedom because we're trying to get back in the game. So maybe there is a fear of conceding. I'm not too sure. But he did say, I want us to play like this all the time from the minute one. And we don't do that, do we? And maybe that's a fear because we are conceding so much that it's like, oh, God. They never used to have that fear under Bielsa, did they? So they need to get some of that back. And I'm not lambasting Jesse for that. I am just saying our team unequivocally never played with fear under the previous manager. And I'm not saying it's because Jesse's doing anything wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying, why are they now doing that? That's a mentality issue for them, not for Jesse, for them. Because why under Bielsa would they play without fear? And maybe, again, like I've said to you, maybe it's due to the tactics. The people will be able to, get down to the fine minutiae of that stuff more than me. But there is a distinct difference. Bully B mentions it. Maybe it's confidence in the tactics, in the manager, potentially. Maybe it's fear at Ellen Road, says Leeds United Old School. But I would say we do it away from home as well. I would say when we went down against Arsenal, we were really good. I thought we were good in patches against West Ham. But there is maybe a fear to get on the ball. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. And Richard says the defence was even worse under Bielsa the last year. I think you're looking maybe at numbers of goals conceded. If you actually strip it back and look at big chances conceded, all this sort of stuff, it's actually not too dissimilar, pal. But I'm always going to back Bielsa. But yeah, you can say, oh, well, we got beat 7-1. But if City could finish the dinner, then it beat us 9-1. You know what I mean? Yes, Danny, great point. Big up, Danny. He says, with Bielsa, they had confidence. Now they have doubts. Fear is contagious and it's rife at the minute. That's a good point. And maybe that's why the second season was so poor as well, because they clearly had doubts about Bielsa's insistence on just doing the same thing over and over. Because they went to him and asked him to try and change it. And I think he doubled down on it, didn't he? And he made training harder, etc. So, maybe there is something in that as well. We'll never know, will we? Jack says, I'd have doubts if Luke Kaling was in defence with me. I think you're too harsh, bro. I think you're too harsh. I think he was good last time out. But then again, look, you won't have to wait much longer and they'll all be gone. That great team. That period was just phenomenal for me personally. It's probably my favourite time as a Leeds United fan. Just being at the games and seeing that level of performance. Yeah. Jamie, I touched on that breaking story right at the start, pal. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. I'm not too sure personally on the links. I think it's maybe a little bit lazy because there's no sort of tangibles. There's no sort of like actual evidence. It's just like maybe they've entered the race. Rads was in Qatar. But where is it actually coming from? You know what I mean? So I'm not too sure, bro. And it's only been the one article. We've not seen anything since. We're going to talk about drama in a second, Andy, because he was asked specifically about Cody. But let's get back to some of the main points on the press conference. So he was asked about Willie and Yonto, and he gave us confidence, belief, and quality, and did say it's fun to work with. I keep saying it. I'll keep bringing it back to the point. And I've heard someone else actually mention it this morning on the All Stats Out We podcast that I like to listen to. Big up Darren Driver. When he's asked specific nuances about tactics, all you get is word speak. All you get is wordle. You don't actually get anything. And he was asked about Willie and he just said confidence, belief, and quality. But he does have that. He does have that, I guess. So maybe I'm just bashing him for bashing him's sake. He does have confidence. He does have belief, and he does have quality. He was asked then about Jack Harrison potentially being in the frame for Sunday. The reason Jack Harrison's not starting is because he's not 100%. He said we're managing his minutes. Do you throw him in for 45 or do you leave him for the second 45? I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see. He was then asked about Archie Gray. Will he play? Obviously, he was a big supporter of Archie Gray in the summer, and he's been injured and brought down a few times, and he's ill at the minute, so he's not going to feature against Cardiff. And he says, look, we've got to be cautious because he's just a young lad. He was asked about McCalmont as well, the forgotten man. McCalmont once, we were talking about maybe a replacement for Calvin, if you remember, way back when, I think. In the first season, potentially. He was well thought of, but unfortunately couldn't get a move. And I think we bit harsh from Leeds United to not get him a move because he's not getting minutes, you know. He said he's doing well in training. I think it's more just to see where he's going. I think Graham Smith has an affinity for him because he's Irish, etc. So Graham always asks about McCalmont. I think he likes him. I understand it. And hopefully McCalmont does go and get his move, yeah? And then Cody Drama, Baron Cross likes to talk about Cody Drama as well. Cody's going to... This was frustrating, right? Because, listen, I'm not Cody's biggest fan. I think he's a bit of a nuisance, personally. He was a nuisance under Bielsa, and I think he's been a nuisance under Jesse. And maybe it's his agent. I think he's a bit of a nuisance. But a lot of fans think well of him. And I was wrong on Somerville, so I'm willing to be, prove wrong on him. But he's going to play against Forest tonight for the under-21s. And then he'll be in the squad for Cardiff. When really what we should be doing, he should be getting 90 minutes against Cardiff, shouldn't he? If we're being totally honest, he should be getting 90 minutes against Cardiff. For me, he should be getting 90 minutes. And I back that, and I'm not his biggest fan. Especially when you consider that he did so well at Cardiff. He was their player of the season in just 6 months. So go get him. Drama's not better than Luke Ayling, bro. He's not better than Luke Ayling. Jack, I won't have it. He's not better than Luke Ayling. Where do you get that? Where are you getting that from? How many times have you seen Cody to say he's better than Luke Ayling? Again, that's just... For me, it's pure agenda-driven. How's Luke not good? My days. Luke's not good. Yet Bielsa and Jesse both playing. I'm telling you now, right, what I will say. You watched him a lot at Cardiff, did you? Yeah? Yeah, of course you did, Jack. Okay. Nah, I don't think he's better than... But we'll see, innit? I can only go on what I've seen. So if you've seen him more than me, then that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And I believe you. Why would you lie? I'm joking. But whenever I've seen Cody is not fit to... Yeah, I know you're from Cardiff. Do you support Cardiff? I live in Sunderland. I don't watch Sunderland. I'm from Halifax. I watched Halifax as a kid, but I don't go watch them now. Do you know what I mean? There's people in this chat that are living in America. Do they go watch that? Maybe not. Do you know what I mean? Your friends loved him. Oh, it's changing now. It's changing from you watching him to your friends. Do you know what I mean? Jack, are you that guy on Twitter that told me that were lambasting me for my opinion and then said you didn't watch the game? Because that was a Jack as well. Is that you? You can't do this, bro. You're not allowed to comment on a game that you haven't even watched, especially when you're criticizing someone's opinion who's watched the game. It's all fun, man. It's all love. It's all love, bro. So, yeah, look, Cody should be getting 90 minutes. I back that. But he's going to play against... Nami on Twitter is telling people Marsch is the best manager of all time. I think you've hit your head. Cody will play minutes against Forest tonight and then be in the squad for Cardiff, which means he's not going to start. So I think Rasmus is going to start because Ayling's been getting minutes in the league. And I think Jesse's going to go pretty strong. And maybe that's why he's going to say to Cody, you go. Now, if Cody's still at Leeds United in in the summer when Jesse moves, not Jesse, sorry, when Ayling moves, when he gets his new deal, then maybe he'll get more minutes. But at the minute, man, you're full of shit, Noel. I'm sorry to swear, mate. Sorry, Joe. Luke Ayling is poor championship player at best. Why is he playing in the Premier League? Same as Cooper. Why is he playing in the Premier League? Same as Forshaw. Why is he playing in the Premier League? Dallas as well. Oh, I think even that's crazy. Dallas is an international, bro. I'm sorry. I just cannot back that you said they're championship. Where do they go after Leeds United? Probably championship. But they're not championship level. Otherwise, they won't be getting clean sheets in the Premier League like they did at Newcastle. You know, against the Newcastle side that was, you know, the best in terms of form. Forshaw played well against City, better than Mark Rocker, and also against Newcastle. Cooper got in the Premier League Team of the Week, bro. Premier League Team of the Week. He didn't get in the Championship Team of the Week. He didn't get in the Championship Team of the Week. He got in the Premier League Team of the Week after his performance against Newcastle. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. In the Premier League, you've got centre-backs, the ilk of Thiago Silva, the ilk of Rafael Varane, you know, and he got in that Team of the Week. He didn't get in the Championship Team of the Week, that Team of the Week. So let's put some respect on our players' names, please. Yeah, Danny, you're right, and as does Click, and that's why we see, when Click comes on, we see Ayling getting further down the right. It's like he goes, Jesse, I'm not listening to you. And maybe that's why he's gone. I don't know. Matt says, Joe, I swear you're live every time I open YouTube. Your commitment to the cause is absolutely insane. One of the best creators out there. Thank you so much. The love, Matt, that means a lot. That means a lot, bro. I'm really, really appreciative of that. So thank you for that. Very, very nice of you. And he's a nice lad. And me and Matt, we have similar views. We align. Up the strikes. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for your kind words, brother. So we'll move on from Cody and people telling us that we've got championship players, etc. He was asked about the FA Cup and whether winning trophies has been diminished because of the pull to get into Europe. And he spoke about, well, for certain clubs, yeah. And yes, Matt, I understand that as well. Listen, I'll never forget listening to Big Steve, who I really, really like as a content creator when he's doing it. And he was on the Big Six and he said, you know, I was in the days of, you know, Division 1, Division 2, City, and now we win everything and never miss a game. And his son, who's only ever been used to success under City, couldn't be bothered to go to Wembley for the Carabao Cup final. I sort of understand it. Because it's Carabao Cup, Dad. I'll wait for Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And success and money and everything has genuinely like reduced the importance of an FA Cup. It has. It's nowhere near the clamour when I was a kid. You know, it's true. It's true. But Jesse did say, look, it depends on your status whether or not winning trophies is as important for Europe. You know, I remember having conversations with Locks and Corey, etc., when Locks was all about Europe. And I was like, bro, you're Leicester. You've just won an FA Cup. Yeah, but it's all about Europe, all about Europe. And I'm not digging him out for that. Well, I did at the time, but maybe your opinion does change when you've won things. But for me, I'd take an FA Cup over a European spot any day of the week because I want to see my club win things. If I was in 4th and it meant dropping out to 5th, or even if I was in 6th and it meant dropping out to 7th and winning I would take it. Yeah, European night's amazing, but I would want Wembley, FA Cup. Right, it'd be amazing. And that's just my opinion. Jack said I'd take Carabao Cup over 3 years of the Champions League. 3 years. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. Maybe there'd be longevity there. If you're saying after 3 years you just drop out and that's it and you don't get it again, then maybe I would take that. Maybe I would take that. But if after 3 years you've got some serious coinage there, you've got some serious stability, I'm not too sure. But if you're saying you would never then get in the Champions League for another 10 years, then I'd probably take it. Domestic Cup means Europe anyway. Good shout. Yeah, definitely, Andy. Yeah, you forget about that, bro. Sorry. Lovely comments coming in as well. Thanks, Jamie Dodger. I love to see that. The league does take precedent, though, over anything. But ask yourself this question. Do you think Wigan fans are bothered that they're in the Championship when they won that FA Cup against Manchester City? Was it Watson who scored? I remember watching it. They will still take that FA Cup any day of the week. I don't care. Imagine that day. Going to City, playing City at Wembley, who were just streets ahead of them, and then they win. Do you know what I mean? Self-proclaimed hardest working man in the YouTube game. Yeah, man. Love that. Ben Watson, was he? Palace. There you go. So yeah, and then he was asked, look, can cups or a cup run help with form and mindset? And he said, yes, the cup can give us momentum. That's why I think we'll go strong. We'll go strong as we possibly can, because remember, right at the start, Jesse mentioned, listen, we've got a few niggles, people, etc. You know, I'm not sure how strong he'll be able to go. I'm not sure how strong he'll be able to go, but I think he's going to give it a go. Yeah, there you go, Matt. And Tottenham haven't won for a while, have they? You know, and they've got Conte. They would probably take FA Cup this year and not Champions League. I would imagine winning FA Cup. Yeah, boom. And Matt, would you? How old, Matt, were you when you won the Carabao Cup? How long was that? I know you were a young lad. How long ago was that when Spurs won the Carabao Cup? You're being in nappies, eh? I mean, my memory's not the best, but I'm getting you to divulge your age here as well, mate. Did they win the Carabao Cup? Matt should be able to just reel this off. I don't know off the top of my head. 2008. There you go then, Matt. That's what I'm saying. So you'd take that. Maybe if you hadn't sacked Jose Mourinho, you would have won it in 21 instead of giving it to Ryan Mason and just saying, yeah, we're going to lose this because we don't want to get the I don't know. Has anything actually changed from Mourinho? I'm not too sure. But that's for another day, bro. That's for another day. But yeah, look, how strong can Leeds United go? Off the top of my head, I'd still keep Meslier. I don't back either Robles or Klaassen, I'm sorry. But he might go Robles. I think we'll see Max Vorber. We'll see Llorente alongside maybe Strauch, or maybe he'll like to keep continuity and have Koch and Llorente. I think we'll have Rasmus at right back. I think you keep Adams and Rocker, or maybe you play JB and Adams. I think we need some bit of steel in there as opposed to Mark Rocker. So I think you play JB and Adams. Ahead of that, Willie. You just got to keep playing him. He's flying. You've got to keep playing him. Harrison, due to him being nursed to full fitness, will he start or will he come on later on? I think he'll play a part. Greenwood might start as well. Joffrey has to start, but then if you need goals and we want to go strong, maybe they'll go Rodrigo as well and get out of sight. Llorente will play. He's got to play, hasn't he? We've just given him a new deal. But he's got to play. He's got to play. Cardiff are not doing great. We don't have a good record against them. It'll be interesting to see. But listen, that's your press conference all wrapped up. I didn't think we'd get much out of it, but we did. We got 40 odd minutes out of it. I think it was a good chat. I just want better players. We all do. Jesse does. Rads does. They just don't have the facilities for that big man. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. David Batty, Leeds United old school, I would say. David Batty, really big fan of David Batty. More recent times, Calvin Phillips. Yeah. I really liked Alan Smith as well. I'm sorry. I know he went to Man United, but he was like the star when I was at school, in junior school, man. He was the boy. But yeah, right, listen, what I want you to do is I'll be on Jer's channel tonight at about 7:30, I think it is, just talking about the transfer window with him and Ollie Ward, so I'll be there. I'll be not putting any content out myself tonight unless anything drastic happens, but I don't imagine it will. And then tomorrow I'll put out my preview for the Cardiff game, and then on Cardiff we'll watch the game on Cardiff. On Cardiff we'll play Sunday. On Sunday we'll play Cardiff, and I'll do the watch along of that. I know it's on terrestrial TV. I imagine a lot of you will be watching that. Some don't have the opportunity to watch streams, so they watch me. But what I will say, if you're going to do that, which I understand it, just turn their comms off, because it'll be terrible. It'll be Martin Keown or someone like that, and it'll be awful. So just mute them and listen to me, is what I would ask you. Jer's channel is called The View. Leeds United, The View. It's really good, so check it out. Ed says, coming to Joe for the reaction because I can't be arsed listening to Jesse. Yeah. In a couple of words, mate, it was clarity, it was belief, it was endeavour, courage, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, listen, thanks as always for watching. It means a lot. Thanks, Matt, for dropping in as well. And yeah, but I don't like football, but I like him, bro. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for all the support, man. We're on 17K. the world is our oyster. We're going to continue to grow. And I'm really, really grateful. I'm just going to continue to put in the hours because I want this to be my thing. I want this to be my future, my past, present, and future, hopefully. So if any support is greatly appreciated. So smash a like on the way out. And like Matt says, marching on together. I was just going to say COYS, but I'll just say, come on, you Spurs. And I'll leave it there. Thanks. Big up Harry Kane, though. I love Harry Kane. Peace now.